All right, guys, so I got some bad news. Unfortunately, the people that you see on the screen have been released from WWE due to cut ties and some cutbacks. Now, I hate that these people had to leave. I'm hoping that each and every one of them go to different companies like AEW and TNA. But however, CJAX is going to speak on it and Smackdown as well. So honestly, this is sad, man. I don't know what to say, but I'm going to let CJAX do all the talking. I'm just going to listen, but I'll interrupt here and there, but I'm going to let him speak, all right? So let's listen.
Man, I am so done with the way that SmackDown and Raw are ran. Triple H sucks at his job, and he must be fired immediately. There should be zero reason that for the third time in the last 2.5, 3 weeks at this point, I've had to shut off a Raw or SmackDown without even getting halfway through done the show. You know what I mean? There's like an hour left of the show and I shut it off. I don't give a crap. You know, the releases are garbage, number one. We have to talk about the releases, which we will in a second. Don't worry about that. However, Triple H is abysmal. The Rock, who's allegedly, you know, we covered the rumors last week and the stories behind the scenes about how there's tension with TKO and, you know, The Rock and Triple H and all this stuff. TKO has The Rock on the board, so he, at the end of the day, is the head honcho. He's the head guy in charge above Triple H, and then it's Ari Emanuel, you know, owning the whole thing, I think, or Nick Khan, whoever. That's the situation. But this is abysmal, man. When there's creative friction, which there is behind the scenes, don't get it twisted, we get bad products. The only person who wins from this is the ego trips for both The Rock and for Triple H. The fans don't win anything. We win bad content with Santos Escobar versus Rey Fenix. That's what we get. A-lister Black versus, which should be B-lister Black versus The Miz. You know, Zelina Vega coming out to the SmackDown theme song with no reaction. What is this? Randy Orton building a feud by himself because John Cena couldn't be bothered to show up. You know, so that's that. I mean, it is over. You have no star power, zero creativity. It's the same matches, the same segments, a bunch of botches, segments leading to nothing, no long-term storytelling. It's all a slop fest. That is what this is. You have Saturday Night Main Event in 2 or 3 weeks. You have Backlash next week. You have Money in the Bank 2 weeks after Saturday Night Main Event. You have an unnamed pay-per-view between June and July. You have a Saturday Night Main Event in July. Then you have SummerSlam like on the first week of August. It's done. There's too much slop, so they have no time to put together well-thought-out stories and feuds, so you get this garbage. Now, let's talk about the releases before we get into the actual product of SmackDown tonight, which was atrocious. Number one, we have to talk about the release of Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman being released is one of the dumbest releases ever. Now, I don't like to be that guy that's like, oh, when someone gets released, it's just like, oh, well, you know, at the end of the day, man, they were wrong by WWE, man. WWE did them wrong, and it's like some jobber getting fired or something. But Braun Strowman is not a jobber. Braun Strowman had a really good feud with Bronson Reed last year. He put on some really cool matches like the Last Man Standing match with Bronson Reed, the last Monster Standing. They had the situation where they were brawling backstage, putting each other through cars. That was some great moments they had on Raw in the last half of last year. And then he had some stuff where he was elevating Jacob Fatu this year. He helped, elevate the U.S. title division to an extent as well. And he does all of this, was just competing a few weeks ago. And now he's fired? But Carrie and Cross, who's done nothing, has a job.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. Why is Carrie and Cross still here? Well, but his contract is expiring, so I guess he's just waiting for it to, expire. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna renew his contract, but I doubt it.
This is exactly why WWE continues to fail. Karrion Kross's contract, though, I think is up by June at the latest, I think, or maybe July. So Karrion Kross will likely be fired because they're not renewing that contract. He stinks. But anyways, the point is, someone like Braun Strowman contributes to the show. He should not be getting fired, while people like Pretty Deadly or DIY or the Motor City Machine Guns even, or even, Karrion Kross, people like that should not have a job before Braun Strowman has a job. It makes no sense. You have Dakota Kai getting fired. I predicted this in a Raw review literally 2 months ago. I think she had a match with Ivy Nile or someone like that. And I was like, Dakota Kai will likely be gone by the end of the year because there's just nothing to do with her. And she's also very injury prone, unfortunately. unfortunately, and she never really got to reach her full potential, at least from what we've seen. And quite frankly, you know, she wasn't over with the crowd, she wasn't connecting, so it's over. You know what I mean? And she was obviously completely outshadowed by the other stars in Damage Control, like when Bayley was there and Asuka, and obviously Io Sky is just way bigger than all of them now, so it doesn't matter anymore. But the point is, that's just what it is, okay? Dakota Kai, unfortunately, is fired. I'm sure she'll go to AEW. You know, AEW got a lot of hires coming in.
I don't know if she should go to AEW. I mean, I prefer TNA just because, you know, the diversity there and, you know, and the partnership they have with WWE. So let's say if Io Sky or Kai Zane, you know, come to TNA just to visit, you know, they can reunite, you know, Damage Control over there, you know what I'm saying? So now someone in the comments and on Twitter did bring up something. They bring up Tegan Knox, and they wanted her to come to, and you know, TNA to reunite with Team Kick. If you don't know who Team Kick is when Dakota and Tegan was teaming up together at NXT when NXT was black and gold, you know. That would be pretty cool. I mean, I don't mind seeing a reunion like that, but however, you got to hire Tegan first. So, I mean, if they can do that, then hey, I'm down for it, you know. But, and then like I said, anybody from the WWE roster want to visit, you know, Dakota on TNA, they have permission because there's a partnership there, so you're good. So I say TNA for her.
Cora Jade got fired. I don't care about this. Cora Jade, as far as I'm concerned, is a very bad in-ring performer, and I just have to be honest about it. I mean, she just is. I can't sit here and say she's great because I want to fit in. No, she's not that good, and she's honestly not good at all in the ring. She doesn't really have a gimmick that's any good, and she's just not that entertaining in my opinion. So her being fired is no real surprise as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I disagree. I think Cora Jade is great on the mic, and I think she's great in the ring, and I do think that her presentation is much better. It's just the problem is because of that knee, it could be that, but I mean, she's able to walk, and she's not wearing a knee brace no more, so, you know, again, she should be able to, you know, wrestle like everybody else, you know what I'm saying? If you know Cora Jade is not going to, you know, reach to her potential, then why not just do it like the Carolina and send her to Evolve, or unless she decline that and say, okay, well then I quit. Then she should have just quit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why they released her when she should have just quit. But you know, I wonder, can you quit in WWE? I don't know, but nah, Cora Jade is great, man. It's just, you know, I mean, she has the character. She has the mic skills. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, when it comes to her comebacks, it's great. I just think the sad part is just the fact that she wasn't able to get the NXT title. That's the problem I had with, you know, with them having her at NXT, is that she just wasn't able to get that. But that's because she got injured. But, you know, hopefully she could go to TNA. You know, I'm looking forward to it. So, you know, if she comes, so hopefully we can see that.
Okay, and then Shayna Baszler getting fired is expected. I've been saying she should have been fired a year ago, but, you know, now it's here, so it is what it is. Unfortunately for her, she got fired, but, you know, she'll probably find something in AEW or TNA, go somewhere else, I don't know.
Yeah, I pick AEW. I think she should go to AEW. Where the type of character and power, is ring skill and, you know, MMA skill she has, she should go to AEW and face Marina Shafir, you know, one of the members from the Death Riders. I would love to see those two go at it. And, you know, if she ever go after the AEW title against Toni Storm, or go after the TBS title against Mercedes, that would be cool. As long as she wins something over there instead of just being there, you know what I'm saying? Or at least win the Ring of Honor, you know what I mean? So hopefully that could come, because I really want Shania to do that. Otherwise, she can go back to UFC, you know, she can go and try to apply for UFC, or, you know what I mean, or, you know, MMA or whatever, you know what I mean? So, you know, we'll see, but that's my suggestion. She should go to AEW.
Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. I think that this was a terrible firing from WWE. Now, they are jobbers, of course, but they are one of the few actual creative and decent tag teams in the women's division because there's not many to begin with. And you firing them ruins this asset of the women's tag division. And I actually thought they had some pretty cool moments in their matches. I thought they worked together well as a team. They were creative. They had like a party girl gimmick. I thought that was decent. I thought they were pretty cool. I don't think they were anywhere. They're jobbers, but they're not bad enough to just get fired without even giving them anything. I mean, they did have the women's tag team championship reign, but it's just a casualty of the fact that the women's tag division is so bad that there's no place for really anybody to really be. So I guess Katana Chance and Kaden Carter had to be a casualty of that, sadly, and, it's unfortunate to see them go, but that's that.
Well, if you would just had them win the garlic match, we wouldn't have these two at WrestleMania 41, now would we? But you wanted to give them to these two, to the point where you had to replace Bayley with Becky, and then everybody giving Becky flack because she beat Liv Morgan for the tag team titles. Next thing you know, we get a rematch the next day, and they win it back for nothing, absolutely nothing. And now we got nobody facing Liv and Raquel, nobody that's going to compete against them, not even going to have a number one contender shot to go against them, and it's all because Triple H want to help Liv and Raquel destroy the women's tag team division. It's so sad, bro. And now I want them to lose those belts. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I hope somebody take them belts off so that way we can get rid of those tag team titles immediately. Because I'm sick and tired of Liv and Raquel acting like that they're the greatest tag team of all time, but they're not even a tag team. They don't even have their own theme. They don't even have their own merch. They don't even do interviews with each other. So it's pointless. It's pointless. And I want them to break up immediately, and I want their titles to be taken off of them immediately. I'm sick and tired of them, man. I am. I'm so sick and tired of them with the belts. Take them off. They're not trophies. They're not jewelry. Well, they're jewelry, but still, take them off and give it to somebody else. Maybe give it to some, to some minor fans or something. At least they can carry around with it. But yeah, hopefully KC will go to TNA so that way they can hopefully maybe beat Dana Brooke and Heather for the TNA Knockout Women's Championship belts. At least they still got it over there. So you can, you two should just go over there and face, Dana Brooke and Heather for the belts. I'll watch it, because Fatal Attraction still go over there. So I wouldn't be surprised if KC go over there, because you can't go to AEW, and AEW you gotta you're dealing with some hardcore type of wrestlers where they got mindsets from the rosters of ECW. You go to AEW, it's like WCW/ECW over there. You know what I mean? So, I wouldn't go over there. Just go to TNA. Just go over there.
Everyone else besides those two and Braun Strowman, I feel like needed to be released, and they deserve to be released in all seriousness. Jakaria Jackson being released is a little bit insane, though. I know Lash Legend is obviously better than her and more talented than her and has more gravitas, but those two together as a tag team could have helped aid the division. But again, the women's division in the undercard just isn't good. And this literally proves all of the narratives about, the roster's the best it's ever been, WWE's the best it's ever been, blah, 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 blah. No, it's not. It clearly isn't when people are getting cut left and right, and you're asking, why do we get the same matches every week? Because they don't dive into their divisions. So you get the same matches and the same people in the same segment, and no one's getting developed or improved at all. So that's why, the roster's the best it's ever been, but you're getting the same Piper Niven versus Zelina Vega match every week.
Now, before we get back in the video, sorry, Miss Jackson. I am for real. Never make your doggy cry. I apologize 1,000 times. Well, that's Triple H, but yeah. Sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never make your doggy cry. I apologize 1,000 times. I keep messing up the lyrics. I meant to say was, Triple H never made you doggy cry. He apologized 1,000 times. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. I am for real. Never. He never meant to make your doggy cry. He apologized 1,000 times. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. He never meant to make your doggy cry. He apologized 1,000 times. Yeah, well, hopefully Jackson will go to TNA too. So, yeah, that's what I hope. So, yeah, that's what I hope.
It's the same collection of one of the secret Hervis versus Zelina Vega. It's been that way for 2 months now, and nothing's changed. So I don't want to hear about the roster being stacked when the mid-cards in both divisions are garbage. It's been Solo, Jacob Fatu, LA Knight rotating around the U.S. title now. It's been the same thing for how many months? 8 months now of this stuff with LA Knight in the U.S. title, and we're still doing it? They have no room for him. Carmelo Hayes has been floating around in undercard, mid-card obscurity for a year now. Like, it's over. They have no place for any of these people, and you know it. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the actual show itself. Now, I have not seen the last, hour of this show. I stopped watching after the Randy Orton promo, so I'll go back after I record this initially, and I'll go find out whatever happened next, but this is the story, okay? First off, we had LA Knight and Damian Priest. When you're starting off a show with LA Knight and Damian Priest, your show's probably...
All right, let me give you my angry rant. Now, who the fuck told this guy to wear this shirt? Okay, I thought we'd been past this. Why the hell are you still wearing that shirt? Sir, you should not be wearing that shirt knowing that everybody is outdate that shirt, okay? People are done wearing that shirt. You are spending $30 for a lame shirt that nobody's wearing no more, and you're wearing it. You are a lame. You're only wearing that just so you can get a shout out. Well, guess what? I just gave it to you. You're a fucking lame wearing a lame-ass shirt. Take it off and put on something else. Lame-o. You know, it's so sad that people still think that Living Dom is the shit, knowing damn well they about to come to an end. And y'all still wearing those shirts? You're only wearing those shirts when you're there. When you get out of here, you ain't gonna wear it no more, because you know that if you walk around with that shirt, nobody's gonna know who they are. Nobody's gonna know their names. And the only person they probably will eventually know is Liv Morgan. Versus with Dom, everybody's gonna say who? Like the New Day. Who? They're going to keep saying that because they don't know who he is, but don't know who Liv Morgan is. Once this movie that she doing be successful, come on, man. Stop acting like Liv and Dom are still relevant. They're only relevant on the internet. But other than that, ain't nobody talking about them. Ain't nobody bringing them up. When Liv Morgan was at Kelly Clarkson's show, you didn't hear, Brooke Shields bringing up Dominic Mysterio. She was bringing up Raquel Hernandez, which she should have invited anyway, right? They're the tag team champions. How can you be a tag team champion if you're not going to bring your partner with you? That's what I'm saying. Take the titles away. If you're not going to promote Liv and Raquel, take the titles away from them. They're not doing anything with them but just flexing, shining like a goddamn rapper in a music video. It's pointless. Take the belts off of them immediately. Because Raquel should be going after the IC belt and Liv Morgan should be going after the Women's World title to be the 3-time Women's World Champion. I am so sick and tired of people worshiping a fake-ass couple that can literally do some damage to real people's lives. Because people really think that Liv and Dom are a couple. When the reality of it is, they're a fake-ass couple. They're an on-screen couple. They're a TV couple. They're not real. You don't know what a TV show is? You don't know what a movie is? You don't know what acting is? Liv Morgan's about to act right now. She's in Tokyo, literally. I don't know what she doing, but I don't know what she doing, but she with a Instagram model right now. And damn, I mean, Liv Morgan is living it up in Tokyo, while Dom is trying to figure out what to do with his IC belt. And at some point, hey, listen, man, look, Triple H, listen, he's definitely lacking. But one thing he's not lacking is the Judgment Day storyline, because we keep talking about it. But I do know this. Just because Liv and Dom got 1 million views on one video doesn't mean that every other video has made an impact. Stop. All right? It's not like it did 10 million views. It did not. Rhea had a bigger impact than they did. They only touched 1 million. The million that they made off of that Hot Ones video is no different than when a musician put out an independent music video and then it goes 1 million, because who's paying for the ads? Them or the label? You let me know. Because honestly, it don't mean anything and it don't make no difference. Just because you got 1,000,001 video for eating hot wings doesn't mean that if Rhea go on there by herself, she ain't going to do double. She ain't going to do triple. The 5 million she's getting off of Kevin Hart, she's most likely going to probably get it if she go by herself. Or if Liv Morgan comes back and she go by herself, honestly, she probably going to get more than just what that video alone. So think about that. If she succeed in the movie business, you already know they're going to forget about Dominic Mysterio. You already know they're going to forget about Raquel. You already know they're going to forget about the Judgment Day. You can wear that shirt all you want, but at the end of the day, bro, nobody cares about those two because it's dying down. Okay? The only thing that's running up is that Hot Ones video that people are only watching because they know that they're going to split. So it's pointless. It's pointless to worship these two when these two are coming to an end. And when Liv Morgan comes back, that's what we're going to lead to. Dom is going to get kicked out of the Judgment Day. And Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio will break up probably before SummerSlam. Because everyone's saying after SummerSlam. No, it's probably going to come before. Because if Liv Morgan is going to be gone for a month, then that lets you know that everything is going to be going accordingly for Finn Balor, and everybody else is going to be turning heads on Dom, and you won't see it coming. And I hope Alexa Bliss come back and remind him that, listen, you might think Liv Morgan loves you, but you know it's for the gold. Take that gold off, and she ain't going to feel like that. That ego side going to come out again. So let's leave that alone. I don't want to talk about Liv and Raquel right now. I don't want to talk about the Judgment Day. I just want to talk about these releases. So I'm going to get back to the video. But, sir, you can wear that shirt all you want, but at some point you're going to take it off and put on something else because ain't nobody wearing that shirt no more. Ain't nobody. If they were still wearing that shirt, Liv Morgan would shout them out. But that shit done. That shit was back in the wintertime. It's done now. We got to let go of the past. So, sir, I hope you enjoy your money's worth because with all that money you spent on that shirt, you could be spending it on gas money. So I hope you took a cab all the way here. I hope you took an Uber, took a Lyft. Because the fact that you came here with that lame-ass shirt, you are lame. And that's my opinion, okay? You can call me a hater all you want, but to me, you're a lame for wearing that shirt. Just my opinion. Let's get back to the video.
Not going to be that good because you clearly have no gravitas or star power here. But anyways, even though I like LA Knight, he's not on the level like a Cena or a Roman to actually carry any of these shows. It's not going to happen. But LA Knight and Priest go back and forth. They basically are complaining about taking back a title and never lost. Yeah, that's all they're doing. You know what I mean? LA Knight's like, well, you know what, Damian Priest, you came out last week. I don't have any problems with you, but you came out here and cost me my match. And then Damian's like, no, you actually didn't take care of business, so I didn't cost you. It wasn't my fault. It was Drew's fault, so I apologize. LA Knight's then like, you know what, actually, no, you did cost me because if you didn't butt into my business, we wouldn't have a problem. And then Damian Priest is like, well, if you handled your business and took, your head out of your butt, you know what I mean, at WrestleMania, then maybe you'd have your U.S. title. And they just kept going back and forth, a little banter. This was decent, but it ends up basically with them saying, let's settle this right here, right now, and then you get a match between both of them. The match was actually pretty decent. It dragged on way longer than it needed to, but it was a pretty decent match with some pretty cool spots, some Falcon Arrows, superplexes, some creative offense. It was pretty solid, I'll say that much. And then it ends with an all-out brawl. No McIntyre here tonight, so I don't know where he's at, but obviously this all boils down to Jacob Fatu beating up Damian and LA Knight as they brawled with Solo. Solo Sikoa is officially a undercard jobber. I mean, it's been official for months now, but now we can confirm it. After everything he did as a heel last year, filling in as a fake tribal chief, and now you have this, it is an embarrassment, and there's no other way around it, really. We can't just sit here and ignore it. I mean, this just isn't working anymore. He's a second fiddle. He's a lackey. Whatever you want to call him, he is what he is. But Jacob Fatu ends up saving Solo here from being beat up by Damian and LA Knight and stands tall over Damian and LA Knight after beating them up outside the ring. So the match ends in a DQ. Jacob Fatu stands tall. This sets up the fact that we're going to get Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest for the U.S. Championship at Backlash. Another fatal four-way thrown together multi-man match match because they have no idea what to do with any of these 4 individually, so let's just throw them all in a match and see what happens. That's it. And Drew McIntyre, for some reason, can't be bothered to show up tonight, I guess because he can't stop thinking about Punk, you know what I mean? But that's what Drew McIntyre is basically doing. He's not here tonight, and that's pretty much it. So we move on from this. We then get Fraium versus Pretty Deadly. This match is a pretty below mid Fraium match. I mean, they usually have like 8 out of 10 minimum level matches. This match was not that good. There were some botches, some missed 3 counts like 2 or 3 times in this match, multiple botches from the refs and from the wrestlers, because I think one of the Pretty Deadly members got slightly like knocked out or like stunned by an elbow that like cut him open in the face, which is unfortunate for him. And then Fraium got the W, kind of an awkward finish because of all the botches with the 3 counts, and that's it. This is a below average Fraium match at best.
Well, I thought it was pretty good to me.
Now, we get to the women's promos. This was basically absolute garbage. There's no real reason to actually try and glaze any of this. Nia Jax being back is great. Nia Jax, I think, is one of the better women in the entire division because she's one of the only true, genuine heels in the company, as in the women's division. You get what I mean? She comes out and gets booed, but she gets a big reaction. You know, that's the point. You want people talking about you, whether it's for better or for worse, and she does that. And I thought that some of her matches last year were actually pretty good when she was champion, and even before that with her feud with Becky, I thought that was good last year. So I'm glad to see Nia back. But Nia Jax basically gets on the mic and literally says, I'm gonna take back my title that I never lost, yeah. And she thanks them for the warm welcoming and all the reaction and says they miss her as they boo her and all that stuff. And then Tiffany Stratton comes out and Tiffany's like, I'm new and improved. I'm not the same Tiffany that beat you for that title. And now I'm Tiffany time. This is annoying, it is boring, and it is garbage. Nobody cares about the Tiffany time gimmick anymore. Yes, the crowd is going to pop for it, but there is no actual thing that Tiffany Stratton has done on the mic ever, really, since being on the main roster, to make me think that she's a great storyteller or promo cutter or builder of a feud. It doesn't happen. Taking personal shots at someone's actual, like, real-life personal shots at Charlotte is not being a good promo worker. You're taking low-hanging fruit and breaking the storyline, breaking kayfabe, I guess, by example, in order to take a personal jab at someone because you're upset. That's not how this works. That doesn't mean you're a good mic worker. To me, Tiffany Stratton is terrible on the mic and says the same thing and just waits for a Tiffy time chant, and that's it. So before she can embarrass herself fully on the mic, even though she already did by wasting our time and talking about how she beat Charlotte and cashed in on Nia and she's a WWE champion and what time is it? All that nonsense. Naomi comes out. Naomi then says she's doing improved. She's not the same Naomi. And she's not only going to beat people up and throw them on cars, she'll put them under cars. And then before she continues, Jade Cargill comes out. You get a brawl with all 4 of them, and then they get a match announced for all 4 of them, and it doesn't even happen next. We just skip to a next segment of A-Lister Black versus The Miz. B-Lister Black versus The Miz. That's what we get. How is this even possible? There's no flow. There's no actual follow-through with this stuff. This, I think, is announced for the main event later tonight, which I'll go back and check that later, but, let's be honest with ourselves. This match is either going to end in a DQ, or Tiffany and Jade will get the W, or it'll be turned into a fatal 4-way for the WWE Women's Championship at Backlash. This is very simple. We know this stuff. This is stupid. And everyone already knows that it's dumb, but we have to pretend like this is some interesting storyline, but it really isn't. The women's championships in every area of the company, except for maybe the women's world title, are absolutely meaningless and garbage. So I'm completely done with this. I don't care about this. This match is going to happen later. I'll check it back and talk about it later in the review when I do. Then we get B-Lister Black versus The Miz. This match is absolute and utter mediocrity. We're constantly being told about how great Aleister Black is and how he's the master of Muay Thai. And Muay Thai, that botch, he almost had a botch when he did that backflip off the middle rope and almost was Muay Thai. But he almost spiked his head into the ground by accident. But thankfully he made it through and he landed on his feet, which is great. But this dude's a jobber. Let's be real. It's the same thing with Rusev coming back. The ceiling for both of these guys is to maybe be a U.S. champion one more time in their entire WWE careers. These guys are not over enough to be winning IC titles or world titles or anything. They may be lucky to get a tag title. It's not going to work. And we all know this. There's a reason The Miz said it himself in the promo before the match. He said A-Lister Black is a B-lister. There's a reason why A-Lister Mac got fired after 5 years. The Miz said it himself. He's not good enough. So him doing these little matches and these little Muay Thai kicks and all this nonsense doesn't matter. He may get a mid-card feud with Andrade by the end of the year, and that's the crowning achievement. He may compete for a U.S. title and get stomped out. That's it. So this dude, I don't understand this stuff. They bring these jobbers back from AEW and think they're going to turn into something great. They're going to be the same thing they were in AEW. Job out for a couple months, have one or two good matches, then get written off of TV, and then eventually you get released about a year later. It's the same process. People act like Tony Khan is some idiot and Triple H is some legend. It doesn't work like that. They're both bad at their jobs. Why do you think the viewership sucks for both shows? It's not good. 2.6 million globally is garbage. And like 600K for AEW is garbage, you know? Not to say that everything is bad on every show. I mean, a lot of stuff has been bad on WWE recently, and some stuff has been bad on AEW. I've been keeping up with it loosely, obviously. But, like, it just is what it is. We have to stop pretending like anything is good. None of this stuff is good. It's all garbage. Be real with yourself. If you went to AEW and got fired and went to WWE, you likely will suck in WWE. And if you went to AEW after being fired from WWE, you may be good, but you're likely going to still continue to be what you are, which is a mid-carder or an undercard jobber. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I have no issues with Tony Khan. I mean, I respect what he's doing for AEW, and I slightly disagree when he's, saying how he's a terrible boss and all that. The only thing he's doing terrible is the fact that he won't release Brad Baker out of her contract. I mean, but he has no problem releasing Maya May. Like of course her contract is expiring, but if anything, I think she should renew it, but because they're not paying her, I don't know what's the reason. I just wish Maya May would just renew her contract and face Mercedes for the TBS title. And Brad Baker should come to NXT, but I don't know what's going on with that. And Thunder Rosa, I think Thunder Rosa should be released too. That's it. I can't think of nobody else, Yeah, but I don't got no issues with Tony.
Anyways, we then get to Zelina Vega versus Piper Niven. I'm not even going to waste my energy on this match.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and skip this part because I don't want to hear what he has to say about Selena. I mean, we know how he feels about Zelina Vega, so we're going to leave this alone. I mean, I haven't watched the match with her and Piper because I don't understand why she's facing Piper when she should be facing Alba or B-Fab or Michi, but instead you are facing Piper Niven where she's bigger than you, and it's just like, I mean, I heard that she won, but still, it's like, why are you facing Piper? Face somebody else. You get what I'm saying? I knew they were going to, try to get a rematch with Chelsea, but it's like, dude, just have her face B-Fab. I don't care if she's babyface. Have her, face her. You know what I'm saying? Michi, face her. Lash Legend. You know what I'm saying? Like, you already released Jackson, so why don't you get Lash Legend to face her? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like people even saying that she should face Alexa Bliss, which she's coming to Raw, by the way. But other than that, it's like, stop having her face Piper, all right? She's too damn big. She too wide. You know what I'm saying? Have Piper face some heavyweight. I don't know. Have Piper face Lash Legend. Like, come on. Bring her to SmackDown. What are you waiting for? Do it. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got time for this, bro. Seriously. Stop repeating the same matches. It's boring, it's exhausting, and it's irritating. She should not be facing Piper. Face somebody else. Come on. Face somebody her own size. Oh, what I'm kidding. The ones that are gone. You know what I'm saying? But, damn, I hate this. I feel sorry for Selena. She should not be facing Piper. But I'll go ahead. But I'll watch the match. But, but right now. But it's just like, at least this one she won. But I'm just saying, like, she should not be facing Piper. I mean, come on, man. Like, don't do no shit like that, man. That's what I'm saying, man. The books is just trash. Selena should be facing somebody else. She should not be facing, Piper Niven. Come on. It's just so stupid, man. But whatever. We're gonna skip this part. Let's get to the other part. Okay, let's get to the other part.
Then we basically get to the Randy Orton promo. This is the last thing I watched, and then I'll watch everything else back, and then I'll add that on after this, after I talk about this promo. Randy Orton basically came out there, and he basically cut a promo to John Cena. John Cena wasn't there, obviously, because John Cena cannot be bothered to show up. John Cena will be at Backlash next week, and he'll likely just show up for that match. He won't even be on the Raw or the SmackDown before. He'll show up at Backlash, beat Orton or get DQ'd or whatever. He'll walk out with the belt, and that's going to be that. But Orton comes out and basically talks about how John Cena took advantage of the PG era to sell merchandise and to appeal to kids as the ultimate good guy and to be a toy controlled by its operator. Okay, I guess this was alluding to The Rock, you know what I mean? The final boss, The Rock, you know what I mean? Then you get to Randy Orton basically calling out John Cena. He says he's known John Cena's like this for 20 years. John Cena is selfish, he's arrogant, he doesn't give a crap about the fans or the people in the back. He just cares about lies and nonsense to manipulate and, get himself fortune and money and fame. And now you guys are seeing it in front of your faces. So that was pretty solid, he said that. And then he says the only thing, because he references how last week John Cena said, I don't have any kids because I've been too busy raising yours, as in talk about raising the crowd's kids and stuff like that. And then Orton says tonight, the only thing you've raised are the prices on your merchandise. And then Orton gets really passionate and into the camera, and he basically says, I'm fighting for my family's lineage that you said you were going to erase. I will not be erased, and I will punch your skull right through the Missouri Arch, you know what I mean? And then he says basically he's going to knock him out with the 3 most dangerous letters in all of sports entertainment, RKO. Pretty decent, solid promo from Orton. Nothing special here, but just, it's hard to build a feud when the dude you're feuding with isn't there. So, Orton did the best with what he could, I feel like, and that was pretty much that. This already, even though this was just decent or solid, this is probably the best thing that happened on the entire show. Like, let's be real here. But, anyways, I'm gonna go check out the rest of the show, and then I'll add it back on after this. Now I've caught up on the rest of the stuff that I missed on SmackDown, and surprise, I missed absolutely nothing. Santos Escobar fought Rey Fenix. Pretty sure he lost this match. Rey Fenix got the W, okay? This improves nothing. Nobody cares about this. There are a couple decent spots that I saw throughout some of the highlights, but there's nothing to speak of here. This is going nowhere. Nobody cares. Then,
Well, I like that match, by the way. Ray killed that shit.
we get to the next thing, which basically the next thing was basically the main event. You know what I'm saying? It was Jade Cargill and Tiffany versus Nia Jax and Naomi. The highlights I saw from this made this match look like it was a pretty mediocre SmackDown main event with nothing to speak of. Besides the fact, I guess, that there is going to be a number 1 contenders match with Jade Cargill and Nia Jax, I think next week or something like that, to decide who's the number 1 contender for Tiffany Stratton's WWE Women's Championship. At the end of this match, Jade Cargill, I think, ends up getting the W for the team. However, at the end of this, they all kind of like fight over the championship for a little bit of the time, beating Jade and Tiffany have a little bit of a standoff with the WWE title. And then we get to see at the end of it, Naomi beats them up or like hits them both, and then she ends up standing tall with the WWE Championship to end the show. And that wraps up what is one of the worst SmackDown episodes of all time. This was an unmitigated disaster, and we need to seriously start having dialogues about the state of TKO, the state of WWE, and obviously the state of Triple H. I've been having these discussions for months at this point, but I'm glad that people are starting to catch on. The IWC, obviously, and even the crowds being dead in person are letting you know everything you need to know. These crowds are starting to care less and less. The viewership is already going less and less. The crowd's discontent and complaints are starting to become louder and louder. It's going to continue like this, and it's going to continue to implode in front of our faces. WWE is. It's over. You know what I mean? It really is. Unless something drastically changes and The Rock and Triple H can make something work or have something phenomenal take place to shift the landscape of WWE for the better, we're going to continue to get slop, monotonous, garbage matches with zero creativity, no stars showing up consistently or doing anything of meaning, and zero reason to watch the shows, as every PLE and every special event is already predictable to begin with. And you have obviously the botches in some of these matches that are just getting more and more egregious by the week. Not many people are over, etc. You have people getting fired that deserve to be in the company and people staying in the company who deserve to get fired. There's plenty of issues. All in all, this is a terrible day for WWE and an awful night for Friday Night SmackDown. This episode gets a solid 2 out of 10 as far as I'm concerned. And as always, I thank you guys so much for watching. Have a phenomenal day. Peace out and one love.
Well, for everybody that got released, I'm sorry that you had to go through this. I wish some of y'all would have quit so that way y'all could have took a stand. But however, I don't know how these contracts work. I don't know how it works when you quit. I mean, if Sasha Banks and Naomi could walk out, y'all could do the same. You know what I mean? And one of y'all, and the people that should have walked out should have been Shayna Baszler, Cora Jade, Dakota, and and I think that's it. And because everybody else is just like unexpected, you know what I mean? But I feel like those are the only three that should stand up for themselves and actually tell it how it is and say, hey, they're not doing right by me. I need to, I need to walk away, you know what I'm saying? And they feel like they can't walk away because they need the money. And it's just like, I don't know. Or maybe it's a contract. I don't know. But other than that, man, I just feel bad for everybody. But however, there's always a backup plan. So that's why I don't feel totally sorry for them, because at least there's a backup plan for everybody. Like I said, I do have some I do have some places for these people. Like, Braun Strowman, I heard that he's supposed to retire because of his knee. So if he's retiring, then enjoy your retirement, Braun. You know what I mean? We appreciate all the times you have entertained us with your strength and your power and your anger. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. But if he wants to retire, then okay. But if not, he can go to AEW. Let's see. Shayna Baszler, AEW for sure. Cora Jade, TNA for sure. KC, TNA. For sure, they should face Dana Brooke and Heather for the titles. I think they should go over there. Dakota, TNA. Some people wanted to go to AEW. I wouldn't, even CJAX AEW. I don't think so, because you got to be hardcore to the bone to go over there. And I think Shanae is the perfect part for that. So I say TNA. Let me see. Who else? Eddie Thorpe. I'll just say it like this. Whatever his girlfriend go, he go, right? So if she go to TNA, you go to TNA. If she go to AEW, you go to AEW. Plain and simple. Gigi, TNA, because her boyfriend is over there. Shout out to Zachary. And Jackson, TNA. I mean, she got the experience over there, so yeah, TNA. So yeah, most of the people go to TNA, but however, Shayna Baszler, Braun Strowman, if he wants to continue wrestling, should go to AEW, because they have the personality, they have the character, they have tough skin, they can handle, AEW. So I believe in my heart that they could kill it over there. So hopefully Shanae will go over there. I hope she faced, like I said, I hope she faced one of the members from Death Riders, or maybe she might join them. You know what I'm saying? You never know. I don't know if she should, but I think maybe Jon Moxley can add her to the clique, but she got to, but I don't know. You know what I mean? I still would like for her to go solo, but we'll see. We'll see. But y'all get in the comment box and let me know what y'all think about these releases, man. Do you think, how y'all feel about it? Do you feel bad for them, or do you feel like me and you say, hey, listen, they have a backup plan, they'll be all right? You know what I'm saying? So y'all comment down below and let me know how y'all feel about these releases. Get in the comment box. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share if you're new. And I'll be checking in the comments and see how y'all feel. Go one by one. Which one of the people that got released that you wish that never got released, and who you guys wish that it should have been. Comment down below. Let me know. All right. I'm out.